Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PSBlue Podcast, available everywhere. This is episode 18. We have some exciting announcements and a new segment that we're going to be talking about. But before I get into all that, I wanted to introduce Vinny, my cousin and co-host. How are we doing today?
Exciting times, Anthony. I'm doing great. Just wonderful. What about yourself?
I'm doing very well. I wanted to make these announcements, so we're going to do another giveaway. $20 for episode 20. Again, there's going to be a secret phrase in episode 20 somewhere hidden in there. It's not going to be in the beginning. It's not going to be in the end. You're going to have to really listen to the episode. But we are going to give away a $20 PlayStation Store card on episode 20. Our marketing team is really starting to up our budget. So it's I love to see it. We also have a new segment that we are introducing. It's called Backlog Battle. And it's going to be sort of something that happens over the course of maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks, something like that. I will talk about it when the time is right. It's probably going to happen right around for your consideration. So get excited for that as well. One more piece of housekeeping. Half of our episode didn't record last week, so that's really fun. So the episode was only like 23 minutes. I apologize for that. Hopefully it won't happen again. I tried to pick. There was part of one segment got cut off. We talked about Lies of P, but I didn't get to really get into it, and we made fun of the Donkey King voice, or it was something like that. It was really funny, and we don't have it, so really bummed out about it. But we'll have to talk about Lies of P later because I am really excited for that game. But that was 2 episodes ago. Just to reiterate, that was so last episode. If you're listening now, sorry, we do everything a week ahead. So last episode 17 should be fine. But episode 16 was the console wars are back. A big, chunky, meaty 23-minute episode. So again, yes, apologies right. There. Yeah. Vinny, what did you say?
Oh, nothing. I was saying we held nothing back. It was bar. Big, chunky, meaty 23 minutes.
So we're gonna get into what we're playing. I want to do the quote of the week right now to sort of rope everything back in. So Vinny, this is something I said in your defense in regards to the mispronunciation of the word Gollum and the mispronunciation of the word Atreus. Vinny, what did I say?
Okay, Anthony, last week you said, quote, and I appreciate this, by the way.
Of course.
Before I say it. You said, quote, go easy on Vinny. That's all I'm trying to say. You all are a bunch of monsters, end quote. So I appreciate you defending me in just when you do podcasts such as these, you're inevitably going to pronounce something wrong. And of course, it is an iconic PlayStation character, which makes it even worse because we're on a PlayStation podcast.
Yeah.
And Golem. So who cares?
What did you
Golem,
say?
though?
What did you say? Atreus?
I'm more offended by
Atreus. Atreus. That's how. Yeah.
I was saying Atreus.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's Atreus, and we can't say what his real name is because that's an insanely big spoiler for God of War. So we're not going to say what his actual. And I almost slipped and said it during that when we were sort of trying to defend you here, but listen.
Yeah. So
Vinny's job is hard, okay?
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even say his real name wrong. So
No.
It's a good defense.
No. Yeah. So I just wanted to go back to this and just let everyone know Vinny's going to mess up again. I'm not. I'm never going to mess up ever.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now I got my
That's going to bite me in the ass so bad this episode, I guarantee you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Vinny, what are you playing? Are you playing anything fun? I'm playing a bunch, and you're not going to believe the games I'm playing, but you tell me first.
So, we're going to talk a little bit more about Overwatch 2 impressions. I've had the opportunity to play that a good amount. Trying to think of what else I've been playing in general. A little bit more Cyberpunk, and it's still a lot of fun. I've probably put in about 4 or 5 more hours since the last time that we talked about it. I don't know if I'm going to beat it. I'm kind of questioning that now. I was ready to go at first, and now I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know. Maybe it's soured on me a little bit. The game is still a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that I get the opportunity to go back to it. But it definitely surprised me with how good it was. I'm actually really enjoying it. So I'm hoping that I go back to it, but we both, you sort of reach a point with a game where now I'm probably 5-6 days removed from playing it, and I've reached that point where it's like, okay, now it's kind of a big commitment if I go back because I have to refamiliarize myself with the story, and it can just seem like a daunting task sometimes, especially with these RPGs. So I'm hoping I muster up that courage to go back to the Cyberpunk universe because I was really enjoying it. But Overwatch 2 came out, so that kind of just derailed everything for me gameplay wise. And like I said, we'll give some impressions on that later. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. What about you?
So I'm playing 2 multiplayer games right now, which is like, oh my god, I never thought I would be playing one. Whoa. Yeah, I'm playing Deathverse, Let It Die, which I had a video on our channel about it, and people are really loving it. I'm loving it too. It's a very interesting take on a battle royale. But I'm gonna have to. My calves really hurt from how much backpedaling I had to do the last 2 weeks. So, but yeah. So I'm playing that. I've been playing Overwatch 2 a lot, actually. I probably put in maybe 3 or 4 hours since the game came out. Moira. I don't know if I'm. Oh, here we go with the mispronunciations. I probably mispronounced that character's name.
Myra. I call her Myra, but
whatever. That's the character I've been playing because it's easier to queue up for support. It's just faster. And I've been playing by myself just to sort of refamiliarize myself with the game, and we'll talk about that in a little bit because we have a whole talking point dedicated to Overwatch 2. The one game I wanted to talk about before we get into these topics is Horizon Forbidden West. And it's interesting that you said that thing about Cyberpunk 2077 and how a game will sort of have that commitment will sort of you kind of have to make a decision. Am I going all the way with this game or not? And I thought I was at that same... Vinny's thinking of different jokes that he could make right now. I can see it in his face, but anyway, so I thought I reached that point with Horizon Forbidden West, and I finally figured out what was wrong with that game for me. It finally clicked for me. Horizon Forbidden West. There's 2 storylines in the game, right? There's this very surface. I don't want to call it surface level, but for lack of a better phrase, this sort of let's call it an interior conflict, a micro conflict that's happening underneath the surface, and then you have the smaller conflicts between the tribes or different communities in the new world that inhabits Horizon. But you also have this macro level conflict where there's Project Gaia and all this stuff happening with I don't want to give any spoilers away, but let's just say it's a sort of a larger than the scale of the small communities and the tribes and those conflicts. Okay, I really enjoy the bigger scale macro conflict and story, but I finally realized even though these worlds are beautiful and the game is probably it's the most gorgeous game I've ever played. And just the attention to detail and the art direction is just second to none. It's so amazing what Guerrilla Games did here. I don't care about the story. I just don't. I don't care about this tribe's relationship with this tribe. So in the main quest, I am watching all the cutscenes, and there's characters that I like Aaron and obviously Aloy and those big characters that I do pay attention to the story, and I'm not skipping any cutscenes. But when I'm doing the side quests, they're written so well, and I just don't have the time. I don't have the time to sit there and sink into these side quests. But it's necessary to level up enough to go on with the main quest. So when I just sort of removed myself from that story and focused on the open world gameplay, just day-to-day open world, checking boxes, doing this, doing that, the game completely changed for me. Like when I tell you the game completely changed, it completely changed. I just skip all the cutscenes. That's literally all I was doing for all the side quests. Yeah. What did you say? I didn't hear you. I was
going to say, you know how much hate we're going to get because you're basically saying that the game is great because I'm skipping every story segment involved in this
No. Listen,
not
before
the main
you write
story,
in
the side
before
story,
the side quest stories. They're all written really well, and I'm like sort of I'm glossing over it, right? But it's really meaty, and it's a compliment to the game. The problem is that I was not planning on. I was planning on just going through the main campaign and that's it. But you can't do it. I'm playing it on very hard, which is just one notch. It's the second hardest difficulty, whatever, because I like playing my games a little bit harder. I like to use all the tools at my disposal, and I see the way that the game scales. You sort of have to do the side quests. So I just said, forget it. I'm going to fast forward all these cutscenes. I get the gist of what's going on. Again, written very well. Not a disservice to the writers. Not a disservice to the people that wrote these side quests. It's just too much for me personally. When I did that and I just like explored and really like let my guard down with the game and just did whatever I wanted and stopped putting so much pressure on the story, the game it's so good, man. If Elden Ring wasn't a thing, this would easily be my game of the year. Easily.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And like I said, the macro level story, the larger overarching things that are at play is great. I love it. It's just, I don't really, me personally, it's a little, it's not even that it's bad, it's just slow. It's just slower than I can really sink my teeth into right now as far as the different tribes battling each other. There's certain communities are at war with other communities, and there's like a political sort of thing happening. I decided I'm just going to try and, dislocate myself from that. I didn't mean to go on that long of a rant, but do you have any comments on it?
No, it actually makes sense to me. I think that I've personally reached a point. It almost feels like I kind of came to a realization of RPGs just really aren't my thing. Like big open worlds just really aren't my cup of tea. And it's funny that you brought this up, this sort of change of the way that you approach the game, because where my mind was going, at least, was kind of like, I guess you're approaching these side quests almost as if like the Death Stranding story mode was, where it's just you can kind of hang back, chillax, explore the world. You're not really focused on the story because, and I suppose, skipping cutscenes. And I loved Death Stranding for that. And it's kind of checking boxes, appreciating the world that was made. And that to me is actually a really cool approach and a very interesting approach. I certainly think, because I'm at the point with that game, there is zero chance that I'm restarting the campaign again. I can't do it. I've already tried it 3 different times and it lost me. And I think it lost me for a lot of the reasons what you're describing, which is just, it's too much. Like I just can't.
Yeah.
And it's a part of being an older gamer. Time is more valuable, blah, blah, blah. It just, that's the reality of the way that I approach games. I just don't have the time or the, patience, to be honest with you, to go on all these different side quests. I'm kind of it's just difficult to do that. So it's funny that that's the approach that you're taking, because I think that's a really good way to fix a lot of the problems that I personally had with the game. And like you said, it's not a detriment to the game itself. You know what I mean? Because I know that people are saying amazing things about the side quests and how well they're written and all of that good stuff. And that's all great, but
it's true though.
The
last thing I'll say about Horizon Forbidden West, and I really just wanted to make this point because like the whole game did a 180 on me. Like I was enjoying it, but now I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. It's dense. The main storyline is dense. The side quests are also dense. Again, it's very well written, just like you said. There's been a lot of praises for the way the game was written in the side quests and the main quest. The whole game it's written very well. Very, very, it's different too. the way they set it up. But when you remove the pressure of following along with the intricacies of these side characters that may or may not matter along the line, and you just do these less important side quests and you skip through everything and just sort of get a gist for what's happening, and it makes it easier to come back to the density of the campaign, like the main story campaign, because you haven't had to sit there and digest names and motives and all these things. You sort of just are relaxing, like you said, and hanging out and playing the game and being impressed by the graphics and it like, I need to stop talking because I'm going to go in circles. But the graphics, I sent you some pictures, Vinny, today. I was playing and I didn't know how to upload it to my computer other than using a USB, and I wasn't going to go through all that. But I sent you some pictures on your PlayStation account. I don't know if you got it or not, but I literally had to stop playing and take a picture, and I don't do that in game. I just don't. It's not something that I do. And I was like, this is too. It was the way the sun hit the tree or the bush that was standing next to me, and I was like, God, this is next gen. This is next gen. And when I got away from plot points, the level of detail and the level of the expert level of game design really was shining that much brighter for me. But yeah, that's really all I have on that. I am begging you, Vinny, to play Horizon Forbidden West. Like, you got to play it. Maybe approach it the way I'm approaching it now. I'm telling you, you got to play this game. Okay.
Well, it's noted, Anthony. It's one that I have to go back and get my $70 worth. I just have to.
Yeah, and so my goal is to beat it before God of War comes out, because as soon as God of War comes out, I might as well delete Horizon off my hard drive.
Yeah, exactly. Delete everything else off your hard drive.
Yeah, also they're too similar. But anyway, let's dive into the episode. I know I said a lot there, but it was really weighing on me, all those things, and this is also weighing on me though. Sony's customer service. Oh God. Okay, so let me give you the setup here. We talk about how a lot of little things have added up on the customer service side, the consumer side for Sony. The $70 for Horizon is one example. The PlayStation Premium tier just really not being worth anything. Here's a funny story. And it's really funny how all three of these talking points will sort of connect, and you'll see how this works as we get into the episode. But so I was playing Deathverse Let It Die, right, which is a battle royale. I never thought I would say that sentence in my life. I was playing a battle royale, and I was trying to buy the in-game currency. But it's true. I was trying to buy the in-game currency because I wanted to support the developers behind this game. I think it's a really well done game, and it's a really different approach to battle royale. Again, we're going to get into that in a minute. I want to talk about my customer service experience. So I go to purchase I think it was the $9.99, to get enough for the battle pass, so I could unlock the battle pass, and I was level 70 on the battle pass, so I wanted to get all the rewards that came along with that. I click X. It says please wait. My PlayStation 5 freezes. I click the home button. I go, I guess it didn't go through. I go to the main menu of Deathverse Let It Die. I look to see if my in-game currency went up. It didn't. I go, okay, it didn't go through. I go to purchase it again, and then both charges hit my account. So I got charged $20. I got $20 worth of currency, but I got double charged. So I call Sony and I say, listen, I know there's nothing you can do because I understand the way this works, right? I know that once you ping their server and they release those points to you, I get it. There's nothing you can do on your end to refund me and delete my in-game currency. I get it. It's a third-party sort of situation. Is there anything that you can do? I spend hundreds of dollars every year on the PlayStation Store. Can I just get a $20 gift card or at least a $10 gift card for the double charge? And I talked to a customer service representative. I talked to a manager for an hour and a half, and they would not give me any sort of courtesy PlayStation Store card. I explained to them that my PS5 froze, and it was just a back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And at this point, I'm about an hour into the call, and I'm trying to be as nice as I possibly can because I know it's not their fault. You know, it's a larger sort of problem. And I just felt like I was talking to them in circles, and it was really frustrating me. And I brought up the situation. I said, what if I had a kid or something, and they, instead of hitting $10, they hit $100, and they did it twice. And I didn't spend the currency or anything, but now I'm out $200 that I can't really afford. What do you do in that situation? I said, are you telling me in that situation there's literally no way to refund me? And she was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm telling you. So really, really bizarre that they wouldn't even give me a $10 like courtesy PlayStation Store credit. I would have taken that and that would have been the end of the conversation, right? And at this point, like I said, I'm doing it more just to investigate, as we need to be investigative journalists here on the PSBlue podcast. So I just wanted to get to the bottom of it. And long story short, I was put on. I was hung up on pretty much after an hour and a half of going back and forth. The supervisor hung up on me, and I called them back, got my number on a queue for a callback queue, and I don't even think they ever called me. I don't remember them calling me back, and that was sort of the end of it. Vinny, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, am I overreacting?
Yeah. My mind's kind of going both ways. I think that both of us know that Sony is notoriously stubborn about giving away funds, giving refunds in general. I think their fear is likely they don't want to open up any sort of can of worms. If we give it to one player, we now all of a sudden, tons of people can start calling our supports, and they realize that there's a way to get free currency or free PlayStation currency, whatever it is. They don't want to open up a can of worms. So they might have a zero tolerance policy. And the likelihood is that they do, because it sounds like you would imagine if they didn't have a zero tolerance policy, they would have given it to you, given the longevity of the call.
Right. Exactly.
With regards to the, your point about what if my kid bought $100, you know what I mean? And it double tapped and, something to that effect. I suppose Sony is leaving it at the responsibility of the consumer. That's why parental controls are so critical right now. And you can put a parental control to where your kids cannot pay for this stuff. And they're so much more important now. Those controls are so much more important now, given free to play, battle passes, things of that nature, are so important to parents now. Like, it's actually a very good, almost a PSA announcement. Like, if you have kids, make sure you put parental controls on. And something like this could happen, and likely does all the time.
Which is the other reason. Not to interrupt you, but that's the other reason I brought this up. Just be very careful when you're buying in-game currency, because as soon as it pops, you can't. Sony. It doesn't matter what you do. And again, I was on the phone with her for longer than I really ought to have been. I sort of knew what was going to materialize, but I was genuinely doing it for the podcast at that point. I just wanted to sort of press her and I feel bad for the supervisor. I wasn't mean or anything. It's just I'm sure I'm the last person they want to talk to for an hour. But I just felt like I wanted to see what it would take to sort of give me for them to make it right. It was a glitch on my PlayStation. That's why it double double tapped or whatever you want to call it, because my PlayStation said please wait and it didn't go through.
It's just
and then
interesting
all of a sudden
also because I play a lot of Steam games, and Steam is really, really good about giving refunds.
Yeah, they are.
Like you can, I mean, you can buy a game and play it for 2 hours and say, I hate this, and you can get a refund for the game.
Right. Still,
and they've been doing that for years. So it's just funny how Sony, and I don't know how Microsoft approaches this. I'm curious to see, maybe we have people that, have had experiences with Microsoft support, because I'm curious to see how if they're very similar with their refunds, with their sort of, willingness to give people money back if they accidentally spend funds.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really good story. I mean, it's just interesting that they just haven't changed after all these years. We all remember our personal experience of you buying the PSP version of Puzzle Quest and mistakenly buying the PSP version instead of the PlayStation version. We never got a refund for it. So they haven't changed in the last 20 years. And my thought is that they probably aren't going to change. And that's why that Cyberpunk thing was so weird, that Sony was giving away a refund for a video game. It was like totally uncharacteristic. So,
right. No, that's a good
story
point.
though, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, it's to me, it's a customer acquisition cost sort of a situation. Like you said, the length of time I was on the phone with them, you're on the phone for an hour and a half with customer service talking about $10. Again, I would have hung up. I knew the result of this conversation, but I wanted to press to sort of see what Sony would say. Obviously not Sony directly, but this person, she didn't have the authority. She pretty much explained it to me like, I do not have the authority to award you any sort of store credit or this or that. I can only do it on something that hasn't been downloaded. I even asked her, I was like, so I bought this game Spiritfarer and now it's on PlayStation Extra. And so I got like hit with that. I bought a game that was on sale, and then like 5 days later it was on PlayStation Extra. So I was like, can you just refund me that? And she even tried to refund me that, and she couldn't do it because I had already downloaded the game. So anything you purchase and download, but especially, so here's the difference. If I had purchased that game by accident and I didn't download it, she could have refunded that to me. But because it was in-game currency and because I bought it inside of the game, it already pinged to their server and awarded it to me. I'm wondering if I went to the developers and somehow reached out to them, if they would give me some extra currency for Deathverse Let It Die, or if they could contact Sony, or again, it's $10. Big whoop. That's not the point. The point is I want to understand the deeper, because something like this happens hundreds of thousands of times. That's a lot of money, Vinny. So that's the only reason why I'm harping on this for such a long time. I don't think it's the developers of the game's fault at all. But I mean, do you disagree? Do you disagree that they're skimming a lot of money off of people for these little glitches?
It could be the developers. It could be a glitch with their game where every time that somebody purchases currency, the PlayStation freezes up. It could be one way or the other. I mean, I don't think it's too hard to tell, who's at fault here. But I'm interested to see. Maybe you should, just for podcast purposes, reach out to the developers. Just keep this $10 refund story going for. Yeah,
I might.
Shits and gigs at this point, just to see what happens.
I promise. I know it sounds so like such a cop out thing to say, like, oh, I just did it for the podcast, and it sounds like that is really why. I really did do it to see. It was my day off, and I had nothing better to do. I was bored, and I just wanted to see what would come of it. Unfortunately, at the expense of whoever was helping me. And again, I wasn't trying to lead them on. I really did want a refund when it's all said and done, but I definitely wouldn't have pressed as much as I did if I wasn't going to bring it up on the podcast. I wanted to get to the bottom of it, because that's what we do on the PSBlue Podcast. But I got some currency. I got the battle pass. I understand how battle passes work now, Vinny. But let's talk about Deathverse Let It Die. Let me talk about that. Then we'll talk about the battle pass situation, and then we'll weave that into Overwatch 2. So Deathverse Let It Die is a 16-player free-for-all battle royale. Okay, and instead of a map with a shrinking zone, you have these quadrants. Not quadrants. These I guess they're called zones. Quadrants is would be four. So what's the best way to describe it? There's a zone in the middle, and then I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 zones on the outer edge, right? And the zones get contaminated. And what happens is every time a zone gets contaminated, you have to go to a new zone, obviously. But there's these choke points from one zone to the next that really encourage conflict. So when you're running out of a contaminated zone, you have about a minute to get to the next zone, maybe even less. You'll see other people doing the same, and it sort of encourages a battle like that. What also encourages battles in this game, and this is very different, and I'm not very well versed on battle royales, but I haven't seen this yet. There is a NPC hunter that will sort of, for lack of a better phrase, smoke out characters that are playing very passively, right? Because this game is all about balance, and you're never really out in this game, just like left, right, center. Little family reference. But so in this game, you can have like 200 voltage, which is health, and you can come back and win the game. So to combat people just sitting there and camping and waiting until it's showdown when it's 3 or 4 people, they actually have a hunter that goes around the map and hunts people for maybe a minute, and then they'll eventually give up. But once they kill a player, they drop some sort of, I think it's called like a battle emblem or something like that, and they give you a lot of experience or voltage or whatever, which boosts your attack. But it's a third-person melee focus game. I forgot to mention that, which I love, because there's just a skill gap for me when it comes to first-person shooters, especially on consoles, where I'm never going to be as good as some of these people who have $300 controllers, who play first-person shooters day and night, 25 hours a week plus. I'm not going to be able to compete with them just on a general skill level. But for me, third-person action is sort of my wheelhouse, right? I play a lot of third-person action games, so I felt a lot more comfortable in that medium, let's say. So 16 players, there's a hunter that comes and goes, sort of smokes out passive players. What else do I have to say about this game? Very small map, very small matches. The matches last maybe on the longer side 10 minutes. Really, they're between 5 to 7 minute matches. You almost spend more time in menus as you do in a match if you die really early on. But it's a very aggressive approach to Battle Royale. And my favorite thing about this game is the art direction. The Let It Die universe has a very unique thumbprint, and the core gameplay is it's extremely well balanced. Like extremely well balanced. There's enemies that you can farm if you're very low on voltage to sort of get you back into the game. But it also opens you up to being attacked. You have a reverse where you make one reverse play, and all of a sudden you have more health than this person who had 700 more health than you to begin with. It's again very well balanced, but it has an identity. It doesn't look like Fortnite. It doesn't smell like Fortnite. It doesn't play like Fortnite, and it's not trying to copy the other battle royales that are out there. It has its own identity. It has its own tongue-in-cheek sort of humor. It seems, it's on some cases it seems a little more immature, but on other cases it seems more mature. And like I said in my video on YouTube, there's no flossing in this game, so that's like an A+ for me. But it's really, really passive with its microtransactions. There's one pop-up in the beginning of the screen that says buy the battle pass. You exit out of that. They don't bother you again at all. you'll still see your progress that you make on the battle pass sort of spectrum, but that's really it. It functions on its own, and it's very confident that it has a good product, and I believe it. I believe it is. I believe this could be a smash hit. I really do. But they don't jam the battle pass thing down your throat. They're not trying to sell you microtransactions left and right. The only thing they'll do is they'll double charge you if you try and buy their in-game currency. No, I'm just kidding. But Vinny, have you seen Let It Die? Deathverse Let It Die at all? Did you watch the video I posted? Not to brag or anything, but I did win that game at the very end, just to let everyone know. What are your thoughts on this one?
It's interesting. A lot to sort of soak in there based on that analysis. I will say this. I'm a little fearful of the longevity of this game. I think it sounds like you said that it might be a smash hit. It could be a smash hit, so to speak. I think we're at the point here with battle royales that you really need to do something special, right? And I do think that this game is different. I think it is different from the other. You're coming from a battle royale expert over here. I've played a ton of different battle royales, so I know what I'm talking about a little bit here. Even
That's embarrassing to admit, but go on.
I am, but I suppose my mind immediately when you're talking about this was, I've never really even heard of this game. Where is the hype surrounding this game at all? I mean, I don't even know how you found it on the PlayStation Store. I didn't even know this
it was right
out.
There. You know how people are finding this game, Vinny? PSBlue.
What's that? That's right, the PSBlue Podcast.
Did you know I was going to say that?
It's just maybe
I'm just kidding.
I did. I knew what you were trying to do here. But I just don't get the sense that this game's going to have the legs that is required for these games to succeed. Now, I will say this, the fact that it's only 16 players, it's not like 100 players where you need a much bigger player base, for those larger battle royales. This is 16 players. It does look unique. Like I'm watching a gameplay video right now. I love the concept of kind of removing these different segments as opposed to a shrinking circle. That's unique and encourages battles, things like that. Maybe it's just me from all of the battle royales that I've played. I'm a little battle royale out right now. And so it's funny to see you, of all of the battle royales that are out there, right, this was the one that grabbed you. And it's just funny because I've never heard of this game. Never. Up until this point. It actually looks really fun. It does. It looks very cool. And I hope nothing for the best for this game. I guess maybe I'm by myself here. I'm a little worried this game doesn't have the legs. Because I did Google it just to see when the game launched. Now, it may have just launched on PlayStation. Is that why you just downloaded it? Okay, so it says that the game's been available since May of this year. That would be on PC. And then it launched on consoles. That may have been an early access.
I was going to say... that. Yeah, it sounds like early
it's very
access
possible.
Beta.
Yeah, it's possible that they had a full launch that recently, and so that's why we're seeing it today. I don't know. I'm a little fearful of this one, Anthony. I'm glad that they're not pressuring people in the Battle Pass system, which is awesome because it's so easy to get that wrong. And I'm glad that you finally bought a Battle Pass, no matter how horrible of an experience purchasing that was for you. I'm glad that you finally understand the concept in and of itself. So I'm excited that when I bring up a battle pass, you'll know what I'm talking about a little bit more.
Yeah, I get it now. That's half the reason I did it.
It's just so funny that I do like that you can farm in this game. I think there's a lot of, there's a lot going on here that I like. I'll be honest with you. I'm just worried this game's not going to have the legs. I'm glad that you're singing its praises, though. I'm glad that you are, because little games like these that are actually a good, and it's free to play, right? This is free to play. Yeah. So a good free to play model that's a good, core game is always something to be encouraged. So I'm glad it's good. I'm just a little worried about its legs here.
The one criticism I have about the game, and it's so minor, but it's really my only criticism. the matches are so short, especially if you die early on, that you have to watch this introduction of the there's two hosts, I guess, and the concept of the game is that I guess you're performing. That's why if you're watching the gameplay, when you hit someone, you get all these likes that come up on the screen. You're like performing for an audience. It's really cool. Like I said, it has a really good direction, artistically speaking. But anyway, there's these two hosts that come up, and they'll say Death Jamboree every single match, and they introduce all 16 players and their skins and all that stuff. I get that they need that to sell skins, but it's obnoxious. After about the 50th time of hearing it, I wish you could just turn it off in favor of a black screen, or B, just
a black screen.
They should just get rid of it completely. It's so annoying. But especially because there's two loading screens. There's one loading screen to get to that Death Jamboree, and if you know the game, you know what I'm talking about. There's one loading screen to get to that, and then you have to load into the map. So whatever. One other tiny criticism. Sometimes it seems like when you get into matches that are maybe the player's a little bit more experienced, as I'm, not to brag again, but I'm sort of climbing the ranks in Deathverse, Let It Die. But once you get 16 people that know what they're doing, the hunter entering the battlefield sort of makes everybody play even more passively than encourages people to come out of hiding. And you get into this situation where if the hunter doesn't find a prey, it's roaming the battlefield and people are just running away from the hunter until it disappears a minute or two later. And it can at times seem to drag the match out. But for the most part, it's effective at doing what I believe the intention of the hunter is, which is to smoke out the sort of passive players and get people to engage. Again, I really was surprised by this game, and what a great feeling when you win a game, especially because you know that it's your fault when you mess up, so you know it's your fault when you actually kill someone and secure that first one last star, which is a victory royale in this game. It's really good, Vinny, and I really hope that your apprehensions are quelled pretty soon, and this game just pops off with some really nice numbers and doesn't fall victim to selling out and putting pop-ups all over the screen. When you first log in, you can't even join the game because of all the pop-ups. Can you download this and just put it out there on your just because
I think I'm gonna give it a try at the very least.
If you don't download it, I know you won't play it, but I know if it's staring at you on your homepage that you're gonna click on it. Yeah. When you're bored and have nothing better to do. So, really, really like this game, and just sort of gave me a new respect for the battle royale genre, which I associate as a dirty word at this point. But like I said, my calves do hurt from backpedaling as much as I have the last 2 weeks. So moving on. Again, like I said, this transitions very well into our next topic. Overwatch 2 just came out. I've played it. I know you have definitely played it. I know you've been playing it. They have the Battle Pass system, and I have to say, it is very effective. There's no gambling in it. What you see is what you get. You get what you put into the Battle Pass, and in addition to that, you unlock all the characters through playing. Maybe one or two of the new characters you have to unlock with the Battle Pass, but for the most part, you can get the currency to get a Battle Pass without ever spending $1 if you really play enough. It's would be a ridiculous amount of time you'd have to spend in the game, but the fact that it's possible is a step in the right direction, and the fact that there's no more loot boxes in Overwatch is really, really great. So I'm gonna hand it over to you, Vinny. I've been talking a lot. Talk to me about Overwatch 2. Go ahead.
I suppose I'll jump right out on that. We could discuss sort of its free to play model a little bit here before we actually get into the game. Maybe a little bit. I'm not gonna actually. I guess you know what? I'll give my impressions of the game itself real quick because before I kind of get negative about it, if you will. The game is amazing. I'm loving Overwatch 2. It's the most fun that I've had playing a video game this year. I just love Overwatch. The core game itself is so much fun, especially for the diehards out there that have been playing this game for years, such as myself. It's just really a breath of fresh air to actually see Overwatch get updated and actually have new content. It's been years since they've even released a new champion. They just kind of, Blizzard kind of mismanaged Overwatch, particularly over the last few years, where they just announced Overwatch 2, completely stopped supporting Overwatch 1 for 2.5 years, kind of let it die, and now here we are with Overwatch 2, which is this remodeled, free-to-play format, which I think going free-to-play was 100% the right move. I think getting more people involved, it's just made too much sense. So the game is fantastic. Most fun I've had playing. It does feel to me a little bit like Blizzard can't help but get in its own way sometimes. There's a lot of negative, I don't know if you've seen it, there's a lot of negative media associated with not just Activision Blizzard, but with Overwatch 2, the launch of Overwatch 2. The first thing is the game was released this Tuesday, or actually I guess a week ago now, on Tuesday. I couldn't get into the game until the Friday. So I had 3 days. The servers were completely down. Blizzard was under a DDoS attack. The Overwatch 2 servers were. So the entire servers were offline for 95% of the player base for about 2.5, 3 days there. So very frustrating. Again, something that I don't necessarily think we can really get on Blizzard too much about, because it sounds like it was an external DDoS attack, multiple DDoS attacks that they just can't really prepare for. It's very difficult to do that, or at least from my extended research, because I was so disgusted that I couldn't connect to a server for, I couldn't play the game for 3 days. It was breaking my heart.
Is that why there was those queues to get into the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually funny. The game came out on Tuesday. I didn't play my first match until the Friday, and I had 30 hours in Overwatch just in the queue screen. I couldn't even get to the main menu. So by the Friday, I had 30 hours in, because I work from home. So what I would do is I would just have my PlayStation on and, just keep trying the queues over and over again to see if I can get into the main menu. And then I didn't even realize that Sony actually calculates your hours. I had it on in the background. But
oh, God.
It's just funny, like how Sony thinks I have 30 hours in Overwatch 2, yet I only have like 2 hours and, some change. So, the launch was definitely a little rocky. The whole, I don't know if you saw this, the phone number requirement that was in place when the game launched. It required players to input their phone number. However, if you had a prepaid phone plan with, like, your parents have a prepaid, like like a Cricket Wireless, I think is prepaid, right? Something like that. You could not get into Overwatch 2. You could not use those phone numbers. So it felt like Blizzard was basically saying to people that can't afford a contract with a high level, phone service provider like a Verizon, something like that, AT&T. It felt like they were saying, we don't want you to play in Overwatch 2. So that was a huge misstep. Now they just fixed it. They just put a patch in 2 days ago to get rid of that.
That's insane.
So that was another thing.
Can you talk? Wait, hold on. Before you move on, let's talk about that a little bit more. Sure. What was the intention of requiring you to have a phone number?
The intention, to my understanding and what they have said, is they had a phone number requirement in place to prevent online cyberbullying and hold people accountable in some form or fashion. And having a phone number attached to an account, I guess, in some way helps them reinforce that rule. I don't know the nuances.
Why can't they
I'm not
just
gonna act like I do? It doesn't
why can't
make
they
any
just
sense
ban
to me.
the username?
The thing is that you can't just create a new account, because when you create a new account, you're going to require a phone number. So, you can only use so many different phone numbers. I guess there's tons of them, but maybe that was their process. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what it is. It's a stupid policy. I know that it was something with...
It sounds like that's maybe the way that they were pitching it, but there's got to be some data mining.
They were selling data. They were selling data,
right.
No questions asked. I think that's what it is. And they were likely pitching it as a form of, we wanted to protect you guys from blah, blah, blah. It was just a horrible idea all around, and they've gotten rid of it since. So good on them. Again, like I said, it's almost a one step forward, one step back sort of situation from right now from launch. There's a lot of just negative media, and I do think that a lot of it is maybe just blown a little bit out of proportion because it's Activision Blizzard and the negative media with Activision. Everyone hates Activision. We know it. So people are kind of looking for that one thing to really just drill them on. And I understand that, but Blizzard just can't get out of their own way sometimes. It was not a good launch whatsoever. So I'm not going to sit here and act like they did a great, it was an amazing launch. But it's such a shame because underneath all this stuff and all this negative media and things is such an amazing game that I hope that people check out. But the other thing, and I want to hear your impressions, so I don't want to go on too long here, was people seem to have a problem with the fact that this is called Overwatch 2 because it is Overwatch 1.5 in a lot of ways. It is just an updated Overwatch. If we want to sit here and argue, should they or shouldn't they have called it Overwatch 2? I mean, I get that and I understand that. I think Blizzard's probably mindset was, well, if we just relaunch it as Overwatch, nobody's going to play it. We're going to have to brand it in a way that's different and gets people involved and gets them into the universe again. So they have to call it Overwatch 2. It's just... this really is not a sequel. This is a great update to an already amazing game, but it is not, that next leap. And so a lot of people are taking umbrage or have problems with the fact that this is kind of the same game. It's a couple new maps. We're now at 5v5, which I think is amazing. It is such a good change. I cannot emphasize enough how frustrating it was in Overwatch 1 that there were 2 tanks. It was awful, and I'm so glad that they fixed that. So the game's amazing, but like I said, it's sort of I don't even want to say 1 step forward, 2 steps back, because I love the fact that there's a battle pass now. No more loot boxes, thank God. Though I do think the battle pass isn't the best that I've seen. It's kind of a, I know we don't do numbers on this show, but if I was to grade it, I'd give it a 7. It would be a 7 out of 10 battle pass.
Yeah, we never do numbers.
Yeah, I've seen way better battle passes, but it's a step in the right direction. It's a platform. This is a live service. We're going to get another battle pass in 2 months. The hope is that it only inevitably gets better. So we'll see. I'm just happy that they're finally doing something with Overwatch again. So tell me, what are your impressions? I know I went on a long tangent there. I'm curious to see what you thought from your, it sounds like you played for a few hours. What are your impressions, Anthony, on Overwatch 2?
I just wanted to first say welcome back to the Multiplayer Battle Pass podcast episode of
yes.
PS.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that's so crazy. We've been talking for 50 minutes, and that's almost all we've talked about is multiplayer games and battle passes. What a wild world we live in. I'll get into my impressions in a second. I did have a couple of questions for you, though, Vinny. One of them escaped me, but going off of what you were talking about, the battle pass. What is to stop someone from saving the currency they've accrued with the previous battle pass and putting that toward the next battle pass? You know what I mean?
I think that's the point. Yeah, is that you can earn coins for the next battle pass during the current. And that's common. That's commonplace with battle passes, Anthony. I don't know if you're new to this sort of universe of battle passes, but Fortnite does that. In Fortnite, when you buy their battle pass, you get $10 of their currency in that battle pass, and a battle pass is only $10, so you kind of can consistently just keep doing it. Now the key is that you want people to buy your skins, so but that's my question. They don't have that money.
That's my question. Why? I guess we're talking about people that really play these games a lot, and they need to have skins on their character to mix it up, which makes total sense. It makes sense, but why would there not be? Maybe I don't know. I understand it, but then I don't. I feel like if it were me, I wouldn't want to spend currency on the game until I had enough to lock in my next battle pass. That's just the way that, like, thinking about it logically, knowing the way that I am, I wouldn't, if there was a really cool skin I wanted, I wouldn't even look at it until I knew I had, let's say it's 1,000 currency. If I have 1,000 currency in the bank, yes, now I can start spending anything after that because I know I have the next battle pass locked up. I just think it's almost seems a little, from a business perspective, counterproductive to offer the same currency. And now I'm sounding like I'm on the side of the corporations. I'm not. I'm just trying to figure out like what sort of.
Anthony, you give people this is business etiquette 101, not business etiquette, but business 101 over here, Anthony. You give them a taste. Here's 500 coins. And
right.
Guess what? You can only earn 500 coins in Overwatch. I don't know what they're called. Credits. I think the maximum that you can earn in one season is 540. The battle pass is 10,000 or 1,000. So the most that you can
that
makes
sense.
You can accrue during a battle pass season is 540. So you can't technically buy the next battle pass with that money.
Okay.
But I will say though that Fortnite does do that, and Fortnite is a gazillion dollar money making machine. So they clearly have something. So
all right.
It's a good point though.
If we talk any more about battle passes, I'm just going to end the call. So let's talk about gameplay. Overwatch 2, you brought it up right before I was about to. Why is this Overwatch 2? What is different from this game? So I have a lot of hours in Overwatch, the original one. When the game first came out, I played it a lot. I would venture to say I'm on the other side of 40 hours, maybe even more, in Overwatch. And it's the same game to me. It's effectively the same game that we saw when it launched. I mean, I know they made balance changes. I know they made it, they did a lot of things with ranked and their loot boxes and changed the battle pass, but we talked about all that already. I'm not going to rehash that, but the core gameplay feels very similar and all the maps are the same. That Hollywood map, I remember playing that at launch. I was like, this is great. And it was great for me. And it was great coming back to the game because I knew what I was doing and I didn't feel like I had to relearn all these new maps. But to call it Overwatch 2, I feel like they haven't earned that Overwatch 2. However, they did make it free to play. And I think if this game was full priced, it would be absolutely an insane move. But I wouldn't put it past Activision either.
Yeah. No question. There's no way they could sell this for full price. No, not a chance. And call it Overwatch 2. There's no way. And that's why I brought that up, because there seems to be a lot of just kind of this negative connotation to the game where it's like, well, this is kind of the same exact thing. And really only the players that have stuck with the game for this long are going to appreciate, the changes that are in place here. Because like you said, it is mostly balancing changes. And things of that nature. The game also looks a lot better. Now, I'm sure coming from someone that hasn't played this game for a long time, you're probably thinking to yourself, it looks the exact same. No, I could tell you from someone that has
I could tell
thousands of hours in Overwatch 1, this game looks exponentially better on my computer monitor. And it's really not. It's like I could immediately tell. So it looks great, runs great. I just think this is more of a Overwatch 1.5, and that's at best. I think that's like being generous. It's not, this is an update to Overwatch 1. I think that just going in, people should not have expected this monumental leap. And I do think Blizzard was very transparent with people about what this was. It's just people didn't really, listen to the marketing or anything like that, like understanding what this was actually going to be. Because you're right. It's the same maps. It's the same exact maps. There's I think 4 new maps. There's 3 new champions, all of which are amazing. So much fun to play as. All 3 of them are fantastic. Another thing, Anthony, and then we can cut off on this because I know we've gone on a huge Overwatch 2 tangent here, but I have to bring it up. Another negative thing that this game has associated with it is one of the things that you brought up, which is unlocking characters. People seem to have a huge problem with the fact that the roster is not immediately available to you, to new players. I should say. Players that do not have, I don't know how they made it, some sort of hour count in Overwatch 1. You now have to
It's a free game, though. Like,
you have to play 100 match. So for a new player of Overwatch 2, you have a limited roster, right? You have 4 attack champions, two of the other classes, and you have to play 100 matches of Overwatch to get the entire roster. Now, 100 matches of Overwatch, I'll tell you right now, you can get that done in 2-3 days. Like the games are really quick.
But
and
it's also doubled if you win the match too.
People despise that. They say it goes against what Overwatch was, but anybody that has played League of Legends, I have hundreds of hours in League of Legends. I'm telling you, Anthony, it's something that needs to be brought up because
I disagree.
People are saying it is a huge negative to the game, and I'm right with you. It's a free-to-play game, guys. And it's only for new players. And Blizzard's thought process is people are saying, oh, Blizzard wants them to pay. They want them to pay money. To my knowledge, you can't buy the champions. And Blizzard's thought process is, hey, we want to slowly introduce the characters to new players. I'm one of those people. If I go like League of Legends right now, if I tried to play it, it's extremely overwhelming. But what they do a good job of is giving you a set of characters to try to work your way into it. They don't want to throw you all these characters at one time because it can be very overwhelming. So it needs to be said that I can't believe that people have problems with it.
No, I agree with you, Vinny. And I actually feel like it was a very big, like that was one of my biggest praises of the game was the way that they unfolded characters to you. Like I like Junkrat a lot. It seems like he sucks right now.
He's so good. He's really good though.
Maybe I only got to play him for half a match because I didn't have a support on my team and I had to switch back to Moira or whatever her name is. But I really like Junkrat and I had to play 25 matches or 12 matches to unlock Junkrat. It was something. I think it was more than that. It had to have been more than that because I played a lot on that support champion. And so I was sort of going through the process of understanding how these characters were unlocked, and Blizzard did a very nice job of picking characters that are easy to learn and easy to pick up that character's role and sort of unfolding and rolling out these characters in a very organic way. This is the type of game like League of Legends, like other, what are they called? Like champion style games where you need to put time into one character. You should not be bouncing from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next type of character. That's not how you get good at a game like this. The way that you succeed in a game like this is by picking one role, picking one or two core characters, and just playing the crap out of those two characters until you get very good with them.
Yeah. And I said, it only takes 100 matches to get them all. So it's like, that's probably 15 hours of gameplay, maybe. So it's just kind of funny to me that that was just something that I read online that people were bashing Activision Blizzard for doing that, saying this goes against everything Overwatch is and, what it stands for and everything should be readily available. People need to also understand that the roster is way bigger than what it was when Overwatch 1 came out. Overwatch 1, it's like double what Overwatch 1
If you had to pay for
was.
the game, I would agree with that sentiment.
I agree.
But the fact that it's free, it's like, what do you really want them to do here? They want you to put time into their game so you like it enough to put money into it. And the only way for them to do that is by putting some sort of a barrier behind these characters. It makes perfect sense to me. And it's actually helpful to new players. So I really love what Overwatch is about. I don't know if I'm going to play it a lot more than I have already. I probably played it for 4 or 5 hours. I really like it. I think it's a really solid game. I think the way that the interactions happen in the world, certain characters talk to each other while you're loading into the matches, the balancing act of the game, it's all really intriguing to me. And it's all classic Blizzard. It really is.
It's fun.
Other stuff, the phone thing and the battle pass not being as good as maybe you would have liked to see, that stinks of Activision. So they need to just leave Blizzard the hell alone and let Blizzard do Blizzard things because that's what they do best, in my opinion. Yeah. But we should definitely play Overwatch together so you can show me how unbelievably better you are than me at it. But I have to say, I'm pretty good on the support champion, Moira.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't take much to get good at the game. It really isn't like one of those you're going to see me play and think, oh my God, he's got it. No, like it's nothing like that. You're probably right there with me. It's
and
just
my
a lot of fun to play.
My instincts sort of kicked in. I was like carrying my team as a support, which is, if you know anything about these types of games, that's pretty hard to do. But yeah, we're going to have to talk and play at some point when our schedules align and we're not recording. Because I want to play more. Like I said, really good things from Overwatch 1.5. I refuse to call it Overwatch 2. It is not Overwatch 2. Nothing is 2 about it, in my opinion. Moving along, Vinny. This was we're a little late to the party on this one, but IGN posted some video of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion PS5 gameplay. Now, this is one that we've already covered a couple times on the podcast, but I wanted to take a look at this is more extended gameplay, and we haven't seen this up until, when Vinny and I both, I didn't even see this. I didn't know this was out. I've been very busy, and this has been out for, at the time of the recording, 3 weeks, and I would have watched it way sooner if I knew, but it's looking really good, Vinny. It's looking really, really good. It's looking like the game that I remember. There's like this slot machine sort of system, and I don't quite remember it completely, but I remember it being very addictive, the battle system in this game, and it doesn't seem like it's all too different. The story seems like it's going to be cringe, but that's fine. It's not the first time we've seen a cringy sort of voice acting set up in a Final Fantasy universe.
Yeah.
That's okay. You know what you're getting in one of these games. It looks really, really good. And it comes out, I believe, in December. And I couldn't be more excited for this. I'm really, really excited. How about you, Vinny? What are your thoughts on Crisis Core?
Nah, this looks fantastic, dude. And you know what's funny? I remembered we talked about it a few months ago. And my thought process was that this was kind of I may get it when it gets cheaper kind of game. That I want to say that was my immediate impressions of it. It was coming out in December. There's a lot coming out over the next few months. In particular, I want to say the Callisto Protocol comes out really, really close to this. But based on this gameplay, it looks better than what I was imagining it being just from the trailer that we had seen a few months back. Now to actually get like real gameplay, real running gameplay that's, uncut, and I can actually get a good sense of what the battle system is. My mind went immediately to that slot machine mechanic. I'm glad that you said it's cool, or at least from your recollection, because I was worried about that. I was like, what the hell is, and I was like trying to understand what that is. So I'm glad that you said that that's good, because that was something that worried me when I saw the gameplay. I was like, what the hell is that in the corner? So I'm glad that it's addicting. Can I be honest with you real quick? Because
I wouldn't want it any other way. Be honest with me, please.
This is me being totally transparent with our audience here. I'm debating on, do I want to get this for my Switch instead of my PS5?
No, you're
and
insane.
I don't know. Having this in handheld form would be pretty sweet. I don't know.
The game was originally.
I didn't know. I'm looking at the trailer now. I didn't realize the game was coming to Switch, so I don't know if this is one.
But it was a PSP game.
So okay.
It was a PSP game originally, so but like it's no. Are you crazy?
I'm thinking about it.
If anything, get it on the Backbone One and. No, dude, it's not going to be. Listen to me. It's not going to be 60 FPS on the Switch. I can tell you that right now.
That's the thing. Does it run at 60 frames? I know it's a PlayStation podcast. I know this is a game that I'm not playing for its visuals. It looks fantastic, obviously, but this is not a game that I'm playing for the visuals. I don't think it. I actually just looked it up. It runs at 30 frames on Switch, so yeah, that's a pass. That's a hard pass.
Yeah, there
for
goes
me.
that.
Yeah, that was a fun idea while it lasted. It was like 20 for about a minute there. I thought maybe I'd get it on Switch until I just Googled it to see what it
that's
runs
really
at.
funny.
Never mind. Forget I said anything.
Yeah.
This looks awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it. I think I am going to get it this year because this looks awesome. It looks
Can
like
I
a
be
lot of fun.
can I be perfectly honest with you now?
Yeah, of course.
These publishers are getting ridiculous with the prices of these games. Come on now, $49.99. Are you serious?
Yeah. I see. I don't know how long is this game.
It's long.
It's just a really old game. Like I don't know.
That's not the point, Vinny. Last of Us Part 1 is not a $70 game. It's a remake of a game that you've already mapped out the levels, written the game. I understand there's a lot of work that goes into remaking or even remastering a game. I get it. I know that there is, but there's a blueprint that you're going off of. This is a beat for beat remake of Crisis Core when it came out on the PSP. Why are we charging $50? $39.99. I wouldn't even be saying a word. $50. That again, it's not just like the customer service conversation. From
I was going to say, episode. Anthony, you're really a stickler about $10 over here. This is a $10 difference in here.
All right, but stop making me look silly here because you know I'm right. I get the sense that you agree with me. This should be $39.99.
I'm right there with you. I never played the original, so this is probably going to be worth it for me for $50. Someone that has already played the original, I don't know. Like I said, it's all about where you're coming from on this one because I'm looking forward to it. I didn't see the price point and think to myself, oh my God, this is $50. I was worried you were going to say it was $70. If that was the case, then I would have.
That was the next thing I was going to say. At least they didn't charge $60 or $70. At least they respect us enough to say, okay, we know this is a remake. You know what I mean? The Last of Us Part 1 is just, we've talked about it ad nauseum, so I won't say anything else, but like, come on now.
I'm still looking forward to it, man. This is definitely something that I'm very interested in. And it's kind of caught me off guard here a little bit watching this gameplay. I think I'm going to get it this year.
It's a day one purchase for me, no questions asked. And that's coming from someone who played the original. I believe I beat it. So what's this mystery topic, Vinny? Because that's our next topic. It just says Vinny mystery topic. You wanted me to add something?
That's right. I guess I'll let our audience know beforehand on the show. I told Anthony that I had a mystery topic that I wanted to talk about, so he has no idea what I'm about to bring up.
No.
I'm hoping that you haven't seen it. I'm hoping this is a genuine reaction.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy.
But if you have seen it, then you can just let me know. But we do need to talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
And this is from Game Informer, has been corroborated by IGN. So this is 100% happening.
Is it Kingdom Hearts news?
No, it's not Kingdom Hearts news. That is that Crash Bandicoot 4 is hitting Steam this month.
Oh.
But wait. That's not everything, Anthony.
Is there DLC?
The publisher of the games, Toys for Bob, has sent video game news outlets. I suppose this is a pizza box of some kind. But anyways, it's coming from Game Informer this morning. They are teasing a new Crash Bandicoot game for a Game Awards announcement. They're teasing a date, 12/08.
Wow.
And they're going to announce a new Crash game. So that is, they didn't confirm it outright, but
I actually have chills. As sad as that is, I have chills.
12/08, Anthony. That's when it's going to get announced. There, at least that's what they're insinuating here. It's very obvious that there's going to be a new Crash game announced at the Game Awards. So I just wanted to let you know. I read it.
Wow.
What's that?
I said I did not know this, by the way.
Well, there you go. Remember we were talking about it? We were like, are they going to get it? Are they going to be able to make another one? Well, here we are. It's happening.
Wow.
So we're definitely going to have to watch the Game Awards. Obviously, we're going to talk about it, but now it sounds like we're getting another Crash game. I'm interested to see what it is. Is it Crash 5 or is this like a Crash something else?
You know what's really cool is that I have you along for the ride with me on this now, because you weren't even a Crash fan really until For Your Consideration. No. That's why I love those For Your Considerations, because now I made a Crash fan out of you.
I love it.
Yeah. And we can both sort of get hyped up for this. I mean, how could you not? They laid such a good foundation where they really, like I said, we just need more levels. Maybe one new mask, maybe. But we just need more Crash levels. Yeah.
I can't wait, man. I'm so excited to find out what this is. My guess is it's got to be Crash 5. So
that's super exciting.
I
just hope it's on.
I'll be watching the Game Awards, man. So
I hope it's on PlayStation.
Figured I'd throw this one out there because I read it this morning. I was like, oh my god, yes, thank you. It's actually happening. So I'm excited, dude. I can't wait.
That's actually really big news.
There you go.
I'm looking it up.
See, I don't play around with my mystery topics. I know what I'm doing here with, you know. Whenever Vinny has a mystery topic, it means it's probably something that hits home.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, all right, Vinny. Well, there's another topic, more rumors. So nice little segue there. I like where you decided to. Vinny, I asked Vinny where to put his mystery topic, and he picked a really good spot for it in the episode. The next rumor, this is according to VideoGamesChronicle.com. Quote, a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster is in the works for PS5. It is claimed. Sources claim an update of the 2017 game is in development along with a multiplayer spin-off. End quote. Vinny, talk to me.
Listen, man, I was the one on the podcast that tried my best to defend The Last of Us Part 1 remake. I was that guy, and I still will defend it to this day. I think it's an outstanding remake, and it is a must-play for PS5 owners, whether that's when it gets cheaper or if you want to get it right now. A must-play. Fantastic. I can't defend this. I can't defend a Horizon Zero Dawn remake. Now Sony's making me question me defending The Last of Us Part 1, because now I'm starting to I'm getting sense of, just buffoonery, like stubbornness, stupidity. What? At least with The Last of Us, my argument was the game came out 10 years ago. The remaster came out 10 years ago. Horizon Forbidden West came out 5-6 years after that game. So I don't think anybody wants this. I'm going to be very curious to see how this goes over when they announce it. Is this going to be very soon? I don't know. It's definitely in the works. It's definitely in the works based on what everybody is saying. So I don't know, man. I can't defend this. It's starting to get a little. It's getting a little. I don't know. What's the word that I'm looking for here, Anthony? I know you have a way with words. What's the word I'm looking for to describe this project?
It's a little dicey. I know that's not a very exciting word, but that's the word that comes to my mind. A little dicey. Maybe it's suspicious. That's the word I would use. Suspicious. Why are they doing this? What is the purpose for this? By the way, Vinny, that you might have had, it's definitely a nominee, but you might have just had the voice crack of the year, and don't think that I'm not going to call you out on that. It's definitely a voice crack of the year nominee. So keep your eyes peeled for that, everyone, because that might be it. But anyway, back to the episode. It's a little suspicious, and the timing of this rumor is even more suspicious, because The Last of Us Part 1 has been out for over a month now, and I'm assuming they're getting sales numbers reported back to them. And what this tells me is that The Last of Us Part 1 was a hit. That's what this tells me.
I would have to disagree though, Anthony, because you would imagine this was already in the works before a month ago. The works.
Vinny, that was another.
That was another. I know my voice. I don't know if Can I just let the audience know I'm a huge Jets fan, and they won yesterday, and now they're 3-2. So I was screaming my head off. So now,
that's not really a good excuse because the Giants beat the Packers in London, and I'm a huge Giants fan. So
I think my voice is just starting to, catch up with me. Let me.
I didn't have any voice this
you need
morning
to rest.
either. That's fine.
But there's no way though that this game has only been in development for a month and it leaked. There's no way. So I disagree with you there. I don't think that tells me that that The Last of Us Part 1 did well. I think if this, it may have something to do with it, but I don't think that. I'm going to disagree with you on that one, Anthony.
I'm not saying that it wasn't in the works. I'm saying the fact that information is leaking out about it now is sort of suspicious timing.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Can I say one more thing on this real quick? And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I got it. I don't mean to cut you off there. I want to make sure I say this because I thought about it about 2 minutes ago, and now it's kind of making me nauseous. My hope for a Bloodborne remake has really gone down the tubes, because if we're getting a Horizon Zero Dawn remake before a Bloodborne remake at this point, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think we're gonna get it. It's such a shame. It's just something I thought of because I want to play Bloodborne again so bad at 60 FPS. And
I mean,
we're never gonna get it.
I haven't played Bloodborne again because I'm holding out hope for it.
Exactly,
Otherwise,
me too.
I've been wanting to play it, but I want it to be fresh, So that's part of the reason I haven't revisited Bloodborne. But I don't know. I don't think this has anything to do with that, to be honest with you, because I don't think that the people working on a remaster or remake or whatever you want to call it of Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't think those are the same people that would be working on Bloodborne. Bloodborne, if you want me to be honest with you, selfishly, I would love a Blue Point remake of Bloodborne, but they deserve to just make Bloodborne 2 or their own new IP. We talked about this. I think that part of the podcast might have gotten cut off from that one episode, but Blue Point Studios is a powerhouse, and maybe they'll make their own game alongside a Bloodborne remake. That'd be pretty cool, but I don't know if any. I feel like Horizon Zero Dawn getting remade is just reinforcing, like you said, it makes you look not great for supporting The Last of Us Part 1. And
it doesn't. It really doesn't.
It really just and I'm sure it makes you upset that you had this whole what's the word? Argument in favor of Sony, in favor of The Last of Us Part 1. And then this crap happens. The game just came out and Horizon Zero Dawn looks gorgeous.
Yeah. Does not help my argument at all of people saying that this was a cash grab by Sony, doesn't need to be made. And I'm thinking to myself, well, there's a reason why they're doing this. This one, I mean, what? I don't know.
I feel like
has a stench to it that I don't like.
Right. We're talking a lot here. We're not really saying much. So I'm gonna sort of do my hostly duties and spin this into another direction. Let me ask you this. This is a hypothetical, and this will be a good exercise. Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster has this multiplayer component added to it, right? So you get the multiplayer component. It has some sort of VR features, let's just say, and they sell it for $39.99. Is that a good deal?
That's a really good question. Does it have a multiplayer component? Was that leaked out?
According to Video Games Chronicle,
okay.
.com, it says
that's my bad.
Yes,
okay.
It says there's a multiplayer spinoff.
Is it co-op?
I don't know.
I don't co-op component.
I don't know if it's going to go with it, if it's going to be in addition to like a separate game. But if they bundle it with some sort of a multiplayer component, they throw in some VR features because I know they're having accessibility features in there, and they let you into the world of Horizon Forbidden West through the lens of a Zero Dawn remaster. That's worth $40. Again, I'm not saying $70. That's worth $40 though.
I think I'm in agreement with you there. I think $40 is the maximum, though, that this can go for without me sitting here telling you whenever this releases that I'm disgusted. And I think we both know deep down Sony's charging $70 for this game. Like, they're going to charge $70, and it's going to make everyone furious. I'm cute. the negative backlash that they got for The Last of Us Part 1 did not stop them from selling that game for $70. It's still $70. You can't even, the game is not on sale anywhere. So that's another.
Let me ask you a question, Vinny. This is very funny to me because we have, as we always say, receipts from the podcast. And going back to one of our very early episodes, like we've been doing it for 400 episodes, but you know what I mean. one of the very first episodes we had a bet that the Last of Us multiplayer, whatever that was called, was going to be free. I said it was not going to be free. You said it's going to be free to play. Yeah. Everything that you're saying is pointing toward this game not being free to play. What is your gut check on that? How do you feel about that bet that you made several months ago?
No, I'm sticking to my guns there. I'm still no hesitation whatsoever. That game's going to be free to play. No doubt in my mind.
Just curious.
And likely a battle royale, if I had to bet. The name in and of itself is battle royale. The Last of Us, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a free to play game. I'd be shocked if that game comes out and it's.
I like what you did there. I like what you did there.
Tell me it doesn't. It's just brands itself. It's like literally the name is The Last of Us. It's ideal for a battle royale.
God,
come on, get out of here. This is a free to play game. No doubt in my mind.
If you told me we were going to have a 2-hour podcast and an hour and 50 minutes of it was going to be talking about battle royales, I would never have believed you in a million years.
Never have signed up. I know you.
I absolutely would not have signed up for that.
Yeah, you would have said, nope, I'm not doing it. But here we are.
Okay, so we have a couple of interesting topics at the very end of the podcast this week. So I'm trying to figure out how to divvy this up. Let's do For Your Consideration first. Because that's going to be really quick. So Vinny gave me the game Dreams, and I don't have a new genre or topic prepared just quite yet. So we'll get back to everyone on that. We also have this backlog battle thing going on, so we'll sort of pivot into that after this. But here's a quick rundown of what I thought of Dreams. It is an insanely powerful set of tools that has no place, just like I said before. And playing it again, I not again, but I played it a little. I played the demo, I think, is what I had exposed myself to. But anyway, playing the game in a larger capacity just solidified that opinion of mine. There's no reason this needs to be on PlayStation. This should be a PC game engine, full-fledged game engine. And it's just like why are we restricting ourselves to the PlayStation Move controllers that came out in the early 2010s? What is going on? Talk to me about this, Vinny, because I don't understand.
Yeah, it's funny. I gave you this game, and I largely gave you this game because I had one question I was going to ask you, and so I got to ask it right now.
Okay.
Younger Vinny and Anthony.
Yeah.
With this sort of toolbox, knowing the things that you can make in Dreams, do you think that younger Vinny and Anthony would have loved this? Granted, for our audience, Anthony and I, when we were younger, were obsessed with LBP, particularly LBP 2. Little Big Planet 2 was the one. That was the best one.
Yeah.
You don't. You think that we wouldn't have played this.
No.
I
think we would have played it.
I actually agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I think we would have played it too. I agree with you. I agree. I think it's not as charming in the way that you create things and things of that nature, where it was it was just fun to create things together in LBP, and it made it charming and fun. And I don't know. I was just curious. I know this is a far more substantial and greater toolbox, and I actually agree with you in a way that it's like, how is this not on PC? This should be on PC and available to that sort of player base, because you can only imagine. But some of the things that are made in this game, dude, are crazy. I mean, I saw a level where it was literally the Jurassic Park introduction sequence, and it looked shot for shot exactly like it looked real, like it looked like the actual movie. I really couldn't believe that it was made in Dreams. Crazy. So many times, so many things I've seen in this game that it's like, damn, like
one game that insane, I played.
What? Yeah,
it was a 3D platformer, and Kelly came in the room and she was like, "What game is this? Why are you playing this game without me?" Because we like 3D platformers. We play them together sometimes.
Oh, that is so fun.
And she thought it was like a real, like, because it does. It looks like a real game. It had a main menu and options, and I exited out and went back in to see how it saved your progress, and it's right in there. You just go right back in, and it picks up right where you left off. I'm not denying that it isn't a very, very lucrative set of tools. It is. It's a really, really, really awesome set of tools. Here's an analogy, or not an analogy, but sort of an example. So as we discussed, I'm a Giants fan. Our cousin Joey is also a Giants fan. Joey makes great, they're sort of funny. We just sort of share them amongst ourselves, but he makes really good highlight reels to get you excited for the Giants season. And he makes them on Share Factory on his PS4. And but why would you do that? Why would you do that when you could double click on Premiere Pro and make the same thing? He told me how he edited it, and I was just laughing. He said I had to export it every single time I made a change, do this, do that. And it's just an extra barrier that you don't need. Why are you going to do these things on Dreams that you could do way easier if you had Dreams on a computer? Because the amount that you need to learn in Dreams, and I will argue that they do a very nice job of creating tutorials and sort of easing you into what you can do with Dreams. It's still a very big mess of things that you need to learn, and just sort of a workflow situation with designing a game that rivals Unreal Engine 4, or I even think on some level Game Maker is probably easier. Game Maker for PC, now that's for mainly 2D games, but still, I just think that I don't understand the market, I guess, is my biggest thing. Who is this game for?
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going to go with it, where I'm just so intrigued and kind of questioning the direction that this game is going, as well as where Media Molecule is going with it. What is going on with Media Molecule? I guess is my question.
Right.
I mean, this is the epitome of what they have strived to do, the play, create, share model. This is it. It's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any more complex. This is like, you can make everything. So are they going to continue to update Dreams? Is that what they're doing? If so, how much money are they making off of that? How long can they live off of the Little Big Planet IP? I'm curious now. Are we, and I would love to see it, and I know you would, can we get Little Big Planet 4 from Media Molecule? Or just a reboot of the genre, or of the game in general?
Yeah.
Like, can we get another Little Big Planet game from the studio? If I'm corporate at Sony, I'm saying, you know what? You guys have had your 12 years here to do your Dreams. Now we need to start making money, and you can also create a game that but at the same time, I'm sure Media Molecule may be one of the studios that doesn't want to do LBP anymore. You know what I mean?
I don't think they do.
So
I don't.
Yeah, I kind of get that vibe as well.
I think you just answered your own question.
Yeah, me too.
I really feel like Sackboy: A Big Adventure is the next evolution of the Little Big Planet IP. Sackboy is still a very important mascot for Sony, I would argue.
Yes.
And Sackboy: A Big Adventure it's really, really good. It's sort of like Mario 3D Land. It has that. I don't know if you've ever played that, but I've only played a couple levels, but it's that same top down.
Yes.
It's like 2.5D, I guess is the best way to describe it, but it's almost like Crash, but not really. It's really good though. It's really, really good. It's pretty easy. It doesn't get hard till the very end. That's my biggest complaint. But it's really good. And I think that that's the next natural evolution of Sackboy and Little Big Planet as an IP or IPs. But I wanted to backpedal and go back to Dreams itself for a little bit. because you asked the question, what do they do with it? Are they making money off of it? If it was up to me, if I was Media Molecule, so there are people that are turning into legit game developers, indie game developers from using Dreams. Why not reward these people that have been so loyal to your platform by creating a PC version of the game if you wanted? Because I guarantee you, Vinny, if they put Dreams on PC, they could streamline so many things about it, because that's just where you have a mouse and keyboard. That's what you need to be creative, in my opinion. You also have tablets, that you can draw on. Those are very good for artists too, but for game developers, for video editors, you really need a computer. So that's one. But two, have the ability to export these games into their own independent products. That's massive. That would be a massive deal. And that would say to the world, hey, Dreams is more than just a game. It is an engine. It is Unreal 4. It is a Game Maker Studio. It is, we're on par with one of these engines. Okay? That would be my approach with Dreams, because they have put so much work into this product. And I really tried to play, Vinny. I really tried to create my own level, and it was exhausting. It felt like work. It felt like I was back in school trying to make an animation or something, which I was not my forte in the media world. Animation was not it for me. And so it was hard. It was really hard. So seriously, mad props to people that are able to make the things that they've made with this program. And seriously, just really impressive that Media Molecule stuck with it all these years. And that's really all I have to say about Dreams. Yeah. But again, we do have some more topics. Vinny, do you have any closing comments on Dreams before?
Last thing on this, I think you've convinced me more than ever, particularly with that last piece that you gave, that is their next game. The next game that Media Molecule is going to release is the PC version of Dreams.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're likely working on. That's the next sort of evolution of this. I wholeheartedly agree with you in that sort of next step of actually releasing not physical game, but digital releasing games that says made by Dream Engine, that charge that's $5, something like that, and it's amazing experience. Something like that I could wholeheartedly see, and I actually agree with you. I think that's the wisest, especially with Sony's sort of push to get PC games out there. This one just makes too much sense. And I think it will sell really well on PC as well. I think the PC market they're going to embrace that game. I really believe that.
But Vinny, the PlayStation Store is littered with terrible bullcrap games like Foxyland and stuff that we talked about on the podcast. Yes. Things that are just, how are these on the PlayStation Store? How did they get approved to be on the PlayStation Store? Where my mind is just completely blown. And then you have Dreams, where there are creators that are making quality content that, instead of charging you for Dreams to play the content, which I also think that you can play the games without having the creative suite in Dreams for free. Because I want to say that I've browsed on there. Maybe it's on a timed basis or something. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is these creators should profit more than these money grubbers who make games that are just there in case they get lucky and somebody accidentally gets misled into thinking it's a real game and purchases one of these pieces of trash like I did in Foxyland. But whatever. That's a conversation for another day. Let's move on. Like I said, for your consideration, I normally put it at the end, but we have two more topics that are really, really going to be fun to explore. One is Inscryption. We have a spoiler cast for that. Vinny beat it, and I really want to do a whole all-encompassing review, spoilers, and everything. I'm going to do that last. Before we do that, we have Backlog Battle. Now, let me explain what Backlog Battle is. It's a new segment, and we're going to present each other, well, we already did, with a list of games. So we both gave each other a list of games that were on the back burner, on the backlog for us, obviously. In the title of the segment, you could have gathered that. So I gave Vinny a list of maybe 12 games, and he gave me a list of about the same. And our goal is to pick a game from the other person's backlog that person will then play and beat and review. And I know we don't do number grades on this podcast, but also give a number grade.
All right.
That's like an inside joke. We don't do number grades. That could be our first t-shirt. I know we don't do number grades.
We don't do number grades, but.
Oh, man. God, that should be a t-shirt. Anyway, so we're going to take as long as we need to play these games at our leisure. And this is something we will address when both of us have beaten the Backlog Battle games. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a little write-up, Vinny. And during the episode, we are going to send the write-up to one another. So there's no... I don't know what you're laughing about, but so there's no...
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I have to cut you off because I thought of, honestly, probably the stupidest, dumbest thing that I've ever thought of when you brought up that number grades thing. Because you said it'd be a great t-shirt idea.
Yeah.
You know where my mind went?
What?
His Valentine's Day cards. You could give Kelly, your girlfriend, a Valentine's Day card that says, I know I don't do number grades, and it's a photo of you, and then she opens it, but if I were, I'd give you a 10. I know, there's so many different ways you could go with it. I know I don't do number grades, but if I were, I'd give you a 10. It's like a perfect Valentine's Day card. God, man, the marketing is like right there.
Oh my god!
It's like a photo of you, like god, thinking of a number grade.
Oh god,
just something to think about.
So dumb. I don't know if I'm gonna edit that out, Vinny, because that's
You
pretty
can,
funny.
if you
I'm
want.
gonna listen back and see if our listeners deserve to hear that incredibly awful joke. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we're going to give each other a write-up, and we're gonna send it to each other live, not live, but while we're recording, so there's no funny business, and we're each gonna have our honest grade of each other's game that we picked off of the backlog of the other person. Now I made it sound way more confusing than it actually is. Vinny's gonna give me his backlog. I picked a game. I gave him my backlog. He picked a game. We're gonna review them. Whoever wins will have some sort of a prize. Okay. Now, Vinny, I need your full, honest. I need you to promise me you're going to review the game honestly.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I will.
Okay. Now, here's the funny thing. I've played some of these games on your backlog, but I'm thinking about gambling and doing a game I haven't played.
Me too. That's kind of what the route that I was going, because I want you to review something so I know if I should go and play it. So it's a win-win. It's like a win-win for me. So I gave you a great game, and also now I got to go play it.
See,
so I've been debating.
And I've been going back and forth, but Vinny, the game that I'm going to give you...
Should we read out my backlog?
I was thinking about that, but I deleted mine off of our thread, so...
I have yours right.
Oh, you do? Okay, so you read mine, and I'll read yours, just to make it more confusing. So Anthony's backlog is what, Vinny? What's on my backlog?
All right, Anthony's backlog consists of the following games: Shadow of the Colossus, Red Dead Redemption 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Nier Automata, Persona 5, Resident Evil Remake 2, The Witcher 3, Tomb Raider 2, Dishonored, Kentucky Route Zero, Batman Arkham Knight, Wolfenstein 2, Cuphead, Pillars of Eternity, and Returnal. And the award goes to... I feel like I just read like a...
Go ahead.
Man, I'm let me let you know where my head is at, okay? Because there's a lot of good games here, and I want to give you Resident Evil Remake 2. Like, deep down, I want to. But a part of me kind of, and very oddly, I don't know what it is because I've been debating if I want to play it too, is Batman Arkham Knight. I know that sounds weird, but that's a game that I always see on my library that I want to play. And then another part of me, God, every part of me wants to play all these different games. Nier Automata is a really good one too that I kind of want to. Okay, Anthony, I've made up my mind.
Okay.
I'm giving you, the winner goes to, the game that you will have to review is Nier Automata. Giving you Nier Automata. That's what's happening. Because I want to play it, but I don't know if it's good enough for me to play. So I'm gonna make you review this game so I can find out.
Okay, I'm laughing. I'm laughing really hard because that was gonna be the game I picked for you, but I don't think we can both pick the same game. That's pretty lame.
The rules?
I don't know.
I think it has to be.
It's not. That would be like a different.
I didn't realize you were going to give me that.
No, that's fine. Okay, that would be a different segment. You know what I mean? That would have a different vibe to it. That would be like an audience picks the game for both of us. Okay, I'll play that. That's fine.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for the award, Vinny. For you, you're gonna have to give me a second here. All this is staying in the podcast, by the way. This whole ramble it's great material, at least for me. If you don't like it, you're not listening anymore anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't know why you're laughing again. You know what? That was a curveball, Vinny, because I was going to give you Nier Automata. Now I'm leaning toward Disney totally Dreamlight Valley. Now I'm...
Wait, you have to read out my games first. You gotta
read them all out. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Okay, so Vinny's backlog. It consists of, and the nominees are, The Evil Within 2, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, Disney's Dreamlight Valley, Mass Effect Collection, Nier Automata, Neo 2, Demon Souls, and Persona 5. And the
don't give me the Mass Effect Collection. I'll let you know right now. If you give me the Mass Effect Collection, I will not get through all three games.
No, I know. Is there a story mode to Disney Dreamlight Valley? That's what I need to find out right now.
I don't know.
Live on air, I'm gonna
a game that I want to play.
No, I know it is, but that's like the funny curveball that like I want to pick. Just like the one that you never should have put on your list.
I know. Now I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't want to say I'm regretting putting it on there, but I'm also like, do I really want to sit here and play Disney's Dreamlight Valley? It got good reviews. That's why
And the award goes to.
All right, go ahead.
Oh God, I'm like nervous. Like I was about to say one game and then I just changed my mind. Oh God, I want to give you Demon Souls, but I feel like we talked too much about it already. Persona 5 you're not going to beat. I know you're not going to beat Persona 5. You got to beat the game, Vinny. Remember, you have to beat the game.
I know these are really long games. You got to be honest. Like, do I have a chance of beating Neo 2? Which I also really want to play, but I don't know how.
You know what? Screw it.
Game is.
Screw it. We're gonna do Nier Automata. You're gonna play that as well. We're both gonna play it because that's a game I wanted to give you. That's a game in my heart I wanted to give you. We're just gonna. This is not gonna be Backlog Battle live on the air. I'm changing the name of this segment to a double for your consideration. Nier Automata.
a for your consideration battle.
Also, don't write in about how we're mispronouncing the name of the game. Because I know we are. Vinny, right. one word of warning to you with this game. Play it on hard, okay? We have to play it on hard. Because it's I'm telling you it's better on hard. But when I beat Final Fantasy...
I'm not playing it on hard. There's no chance.
Okay, then don't play it on hard. I don't know what to tell you. I'm playing it on hard. When I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake, I was like, I need another game like this. And I kept researching it, and Nier Automata was the one that kept coming up. So I think we're really going to like it. This is kind of cool that we're doing a double for your consideration here. I kind of... This might be
I actually kind of like it, to be honest with you. We might need to do this more often where we can come in and discuss the game, because I've never played it.
Yeah, the one thing I will say, if you do want to change the difficulty to hard, do it after you can save first. Because I've played the opening couple of hours, and there is no save point in the first 3 hours of the game. And I had it on hard, and it took me 15,000 tries. You have to go through an entire segment without spoiling anything of like 3 different types of gameplay, really, and beat a boss without dying one time. And if you die, you have to start all over. It's like the most bizarre opening to a game ever. So just get ready for that.
Cool.
But you can change the difficulty after, just to let you know. But all right, that's very exciting. We're going to do an FOC for our consideration. Maybe that's what we call the topic. God.
Did you just come up with that on the spot?
Yeah. That
was really good. That was very good.
Oh my God. I like this backlog battle idea though, so we're going to have to readdress this, but this will just be called For Our Consideration Nier Automata. And the other cool thing is when we start to get our our following up a little bit more, we'll take write-ins and we'll do this as well.
Yeah.
So, just a way to mix things up. We've been doing the same For Your Consideration, and we've been getting kind of burned out. I feel like we stopped beating the games, and that was my first sign of it. But yeah, I'm excited. I swear to you, Vinny, I had Nier Automata circled. Like, that was the game I was picking for you the whole way. And the fact that you picked that for me too is pretty funny. But
Disney's Dreamlight Valley had a shot there. The underdog was
that was the only other game I was genuinely considering. Yeah. Demon Souls, you would have gotten annoyed with Demon Souls. That's why I didn't pick it. All right. Well, that was a great development there, Vinny, where we went from, we thought we were doing one segment, Backlog Battle, and it turned into For Our Consideration, Nier Automata. And I'm looking forward to it. And with that out of the way, here's our final topic. Spoilers, heavy spoilers for Inscryption. Do not listen to this if you have not played Inscryption. Please, the game is amazing, and you owe it to yourself to play Inscryption. With that out of the way, here's the Spoilercast, Anthony and Vinny's review of Inscryption. Vinny, I'm going to let you start first.
Yeah, I suppose I'm going to be a little all over the place. For me personally, since we're people that are listening have probably played the game before, I would hope up to this point that the one thing that stuck out to me with this game is just the risks that it took within the genre. And I love that it took those risks and that the game just takes so many crazy fucking turns that you do not see coming whatsoever. The game is really bizarre. It is truly one of the most bizarre games I've ever played. I loved every second of it. It is so much fun. The moment-to-moment gameplay, the card game is just so good that the game it does a lot of fun ways of mixing it up, changing the environment up throughout the entirety of the campaign. I think for me, and I think you're going to agree with me, the introduction sequence, the initial area that you're at, kind of the beginning area, that's the best one. I think that's the one that is outstanding from top to bottom.
Yeah, I agree.
Amazing. The card design, the old man that we know is an old man. When you see him for the first time is honestly one of the craziest fucking moments. Honestly, you get chills when the light goes on and you see him for that split second. I remember it took me 4 times to beat him. So every time that he would flick on the light and you could actually see who you were fighting against, it's man, this is really creepy. I'm in this old dude's cabin. It's an actual just old dude with, dude, it's so freaking creative. I loved it. So that opening sequence is amazing. And the best part is that it's only the opening sequence. And you think that's the whole game. That's why it's... And dude, it's so much fun. Then it goes to the 2D world, which is what the fuck am I playing? I thought it was the epilogue. I was oh, this is the epilogue. This is some weird thing that they're doing. And then I'm wait, this is a game in and of itself. I've been in this 2D world for 3 hours now. The game is so much fun, dude. I will say this. There's one risk with the game that I don't think resonated with me.
I know what you're gonna say already,
and that's the real world, dude. I can't I didn't really particularly enjoy those segments, even though I was still intrigued by them because the game was so much fun. I was actually I was watching all the segments, but the acting was very subpar. It was very mediocre.
That's what I was gonna say. I want to interject on that point. Because we talked about it.
We can go back and forth here.
We talked about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit off the air. if the idea isn't bad, the acting was just, I'm sorry. And I feel really bad for the actor, but the acting was not good. It was not good. Maybe they didn't get the takes that they needed. Maybe they I don't know. I'm trying to defend the acting the performances here, but especially when the girl comes in and she's just like she looks like a college kid, and she comes in and she says she's with the FBI or something, and I'm like,
that's right. I forgot about that. It looks like one of those really like poorly made horror films, like really, really bad.
Right.
Like, so like minimal budget.
I'm all about suspending your disbelief, right? And I think that's important to consume any media. But it was hard for me to suspend my disbelief in that moment. And the only reason I was able to get through that hurdle is because the rest of the game, the other 90% of the game, is so freaking amazing.
Oh my God. Amazing.
Like,
it is amazing.
So good. And
it is so much fun.
It's the way that the cards talk to you, like the way the stoat talks to you, and it ends up being the computer guy.
Oh my God, so cool.
Just so clever. The way in the first act of the game, I like to separate the game into 3 acts. The first act being inside the cabin, the second act being obviously the 2D sort of world, and the third act being the computer world. So in the first act, we have the cabin guy, and the way that he takes your picture and makes you a card that you can somehow stumble upon on your next playthrough, I thought was just so clever. That was the one little nugget for Act 1. For Act 2, the one risk that, to use your words, the one risk that I really liked in Act 2, was just, the whole Act 2, I'm trying to remember, it's been a while since I've played, it's been a few months now, but the way that you could have any type of card, like you could have bone cards, or you could have, it just added another element to the game. You could have bone cards, you could have the energy, excuse me, you could have the robot cards, which worked off energy, and there were so many different synergies you could do in that second act that it was almost overwhelming. Like, they could have made a 20 to 30 hour game just on that second world. You know, like the first one I feel like got a little bit repetitive, but the second one I feel like they could have made an entire world. And then you get to the third act, the computer area, which is back to the roots of the first area, but the favorite gimmick, for lack of a better word, we'll call it risk. I feel like that's a better, more positive term, was when they take your friends list and make your friends list people that you're fighting by connecting to the internet. When they did that, I lost it. I was like, this is one of the most creative things I've ever seen in a video game of all time. And yours was probably cool because you had your PlayStation friends list. For me, it was my Steam friends list, which was like 3 friends, but it was cool because Vinny12077, which was your name, came up on there, and it was like really, really cool.
So awesome.
But those
so
were
much fun.
Those were the 3 highlights for me. And then the way that the game deletes itself and the assets start to get deleted while you're fighting in that 4th act, I would call that the epilogue, was just so, it was surreal. It was surreal. It was weird, but in all the right ways. That's in a nutshell the biggest takeaways I had from the game. I don't know if you want to bounce off of that at all, Vinny.
Nah, I mean, you put it perfectly. The game is outstanding. The epilogue it's one of those moments where you're like almost like jaw dropping. Like genuinely like, what is this?
Right.
I love it. And the epilogue sequence, don't know if you remember it, how vividly you remember it. It's fresh in my mind because I just played it. There are 4 different bosses that you fight in that epilogue, or I think 3 different ones that you fight for a minimal amount of time while the game is kind of deleting itself. There's one that is a woman that is like a witch woman.
Yeah.
And the board, and you probably play her for like maybe a minute and a half. You fight her. And it is so like it was one of those moments where I was like, this is honestly one of the coolest things I've ever experienced in a game. It was that cool. And then you flip to another board, another type of game, and then the game deleting itself. It was just truly like jarring in a good way, like mind-boggling. Like it was crazy.
Do you remember
but
when
I loved it?
You remember when you had the Yu-Gi-Oh arm thing?
Yes.
But like all the assets are deleting behind you and it's almost empty at that point. But at that point there was no rhyme or reason. Like you couldn't even really like you could attack. There was some sort of a mechanism there to keep your attention, but the game was deleting itself. It's just one of the most creative things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In any piece of art. This game is special. It is special.
It is so special. Let me ask you this while we're wrapping this up. Where do you think they go from here? Do we get another Inscryption game or is this it? I have a feeling that we're going to get another one because there's so many different, but I'm also fearful of another one. I don't want, like, I don't know. What are your feelings? Are we getting a sequel here? Is this going to stand on its own? I just get the feeling we're going to get another one. I do, because I think this was successful enough. There's a PS5 port. I don't know if I want another one, though. That's the other thing. But the card game is so good. You know what I mean? Like, the actual gameplay is so much fun. And, man. I hope that they do another one. I do.
Well, you know that there's
I cannot wait if they do.
You know that there's a sort of like different mode that you can play, right? It's not like the story mode, but you can go in there and there's like a roguelike sort of mode that you can play, which is cool. Really? But really,
I like the story.
That's what I was about to say. The selling point of the game is the story.
Oh yeah,
that's I mean, no don't get me wrong. Yeah. The gameplay is amazing, but the mystery behind what is this cabin that I'm in? What are these? Again, it's not the. I liked the cutscene break. I thought it was a good break from the action. What are these videos that I'm watching? Why are they disappearing and some of them are deleted? It was the acting was not up to par.
Yeah.
But Inscryption, it was based on a like Flash game, believe it or not. So there was, I don't want to say maybe not a Flash game, but it was something. There was like a demo that was out, and it's this guy Daniel Mullins. And he has two other games that are on. One is on, looks like Steam only, and the other one's on, I guess, also PC. Inscryption's the only one that came to other consoles from the looks of it. But apparently Pony Island is also very good, another one of his games. But if you like this style, Vinny, I would check out Pony Island or The Hex. Those are his other two games.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll make another one. I don't, of Inscryption. I think that it is. Yeah. It's just it would ruin the.
Yeah.
I don't know. This game is like timeless. I understand why it got Game of the Year nods all over the place in 2021 when it originally came out.
It makes total sense.
It's a special game.
It's so good.
I just wish I could forget the game so I could play it again.
I know.
Fresh.
Exactly. I'm right there with you, man.
Remember the moon?
Can't sing its praises enough.
When you had to fight the actual moon?
Yes.
So cool.
Yes, dude. And all the masks are flying around it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. It is so good. So good. I'm glad we got to talk about it because it deserves all the praise in the world.
Yeah. And imagine if they did a multiplayer version of Inscryption.
See, I was thinking that, but I don't know how it would work.
That's what I was going to say. How would that work?
Players' turns ahead of time, which would be really difficult to do that.
Yeah.
You know, now would it surprise me if that happened? You got to think they're looking into it based on just the success of Inscryption. But you just got to think with the success of this game, they want to do something else in this universe.
Let me put it this way. I hope that Daniel Mullins' next game is not Inscryption 2 or some one-off of Inscryption. I want him to make something else. I want to see where he goes from this.
Yeah.
And realizes his full potential. Inscryption might be it, or he might have something even crazier in the tank. Just whatever it is, Get better actors, please. That's all I ask.
I know, my goodness. He's got the money now, so I'm
Right.
sure he can afford, I'm sure it'll be better.
All right, well,
my goodness.
Vinny, that is it for this episode of the PS Blue Podcast. Again, we are giving away a $20 PlayStation Store gift card on episode 20. So don't forget about that. And until next time, I'm Anthony, as always, joined by Vinny. See you guys for episode 19 of the PS Blue Podcast.
See you guys.